Good afternoon. I love that this is a full house, so thanks for being here. We appreciate your guys' time and dedication and just getting on this journey with us. We are excited to get the season rolling. This group has been practicing and lifting and conditioning the month of January. And that month sometimes can be a little harder than the season because it just gets a little grueling. And what I appreciate about this group is that they're a very connected team. I love their experience. I love the connection that they have with each other. They demand excellence from each other. They have a high standard, and they know how to call each other to the standard if needed. We've talked a lot this year about having an endless belief in all that we're going to do this year, an unbreakable connection, and to have no finish line. I feel like last year we talked a little bit about a finish line, and this year it's not about a finish line. It's more about how can we step on the field, whether it's at practice or in a game, and just be at our optimal best every single time. So I know we are tired of playing ourselves. We'd like to go play somebody else, and we are looking forward to heading to Florida this next week.
We'll go to questions, and if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, since we've got a lot of new faces in the room, just the first time you asked a question, not every time you ask a question. Go ahead, yeah.
Chris Tracy, Scoop Up. Coach, what's the biggest growth you think the team will have displayed from the fall, where they were first kind of getting their footing together, to now when the season's actually going to be starting?
I think with this group, the connection piece, I think the connection on and off the field, I think we're extremely talented, but just that connection piece goes such a long way. So watching them show up and start the year off at our retreat, and then getting to grow within the sport, but then also grow with each other and develop trust and loyalty and all those things that are going to be needed as we get on this journey this year.
Olivia Cleary, KZI. When you're coming off such a successful season like you guys had last season, do you use that to build momentum at all, or do you treat this year kind of as a new slate?
Yeah, we're version 8. It's a different version. We've celebrated version 7 so much, and it was such an awesome ride. But what I think is great is that every version is so different, and you get to start from scratch and build upon it. And that's what I have loved that this group has done. They've just built upon it from day one. I don't think there's any comparisons, I just don't think it really works that way. I just think every year is a new year, a new journey, and you get to see where the journey is going to take you and how we're going to handle, the good of the journey, the adversity of the journey. Like, how does this group come together collectively?
John Evans, Duck Territory. You say it's a new journey for this team, but you got 6 returners from last year's team in the lineup. You do the main 2 pitchers back as well, compared to where it was last season, where it was Page and the Luchars at the top of the lineup, and then Lindsay coming in as a transfer. How do you feel like just the experience they were able to get last year is going to kind of help them kind of settle in early on this season?
Experience is priceless. I mean, like, anytime we can have experience, it's going to go such a long way. And I think with this team, when you look at us, you're going to feel us older. It's interesting. We're older, but we're young, right? But we're very experienced. And I think that allows us to really be particular and understand what we need in the fall, what we need in the month of January. What does our first weekend look like? I just think you'll feel a very business approach from this group, but also a group that likes to have a lot of fun, have a lot of joy for the game. But I think that experience piece will be huge for us.
You talked about being, Saul, kid of VA. You talked about being older but young. You obviously got a lot of new players as well to kind of fill those roles from last year. Can you just talk about your new group and what's impressed you so far about them?
I would say their athleticism, just their ability defensively, their ability at the plate. We swiped a ton of bases last year. I think we still will. And I thought we had good power last year, but I just feel like you're going to see more power this year. I think they're very, very smart at the plate. They understand their game plans when they're facing an opponent. And I just think that experience factor, along with their athleticism, is going to put them in a good place.
You mentioned that athleticism. Last year, you guys stole 175 bases, but 70% of those came from the Luchars and from Page. is that a question of asking just a little bit more from people like Kaylin Jones to swipe some bases and Ayanna Shaw? Or is that, asking Elon Butler at the top of the lineup last year, that was something she really developed from her game at Cal, was swiping more bases. Is that something that you're going to ask a little bit more from her?
Definitely. I think with KW, you'll still see her steal the amount of bases and hopefully more than what she did last year. Elon likes to run. Ayanna likes to run. So definitely, we're still going to run and be aggressive. I think that's been who we are since day one. I think it's just you're going to see different people doing it.
Olivia Arsenaga from KWVA. You had such a powerful freshman class last year, and now as sophomores, how have you seen them grow into the roles of being more experienced with this team and then teaching some of the younger players, how to get involved here?
Mm-hmm. I think with freshmen, what's always the hardest is just the unknown. Just not knowing can be a little bit of a stressor sometimes. And as sophomores, you know it now. You know what to expect. You know how to go about it. I think your path is just a little clearer. And being sophomores, I think all of them have always done a really good job of helping our freshmen and even newcomers that are coming in right after them and advising them and telling them different things that they did, whether it was in school or on the field or at practice, or just how they went about it to help their cause. So these guys do a really good job of taking care of each other.
Coach, Isaac Streeter, Portland Tribune. Notably, no left-handed pitching on this year's roster. I'm curious how you guys have attacked that, and just kind of your perspective on that.
We have an all right-handed lineup, but even though we are right-handed, we have pitchers on the staff that handle left-handed hitters very well, or handle right-handed pitchers, or can do both. So even though all of our arms are right-handed, as far as having plans and having success for lefties, I think you'll see that this year.
And taking a step from what that pitching rotation did for you last year to this season, how have you kind of seen them come along, and kind of the sky's the limit for them?
Definitely. I think this is a really deep pitching staff. Lindsay and Elise are returning, and they both had big years. They both took on a lot of strain for our team and handled themselves very well, put us in positions to win. I'm excited about Taylor. Taylor was a little banged up last year. She was healthy and then got a little banged up, and I'm looking forward to Taylor. She's done a lot of things this fall. Over the month of January, all of our scrimmages and inter squads that we're doing, she's just really developed and has really good command of her ball, for all of her pitches. And then I think about Maddie, who's a freshman, and also Rowan, who's a sophomore, so a year under her belt, and just what they can do. Rowan has a great drop ball and is going to give us a lot of ground balls, and Maddie just throws an easy 72 miles an hour. So, which is really nice to see her coming in and closing out a game where we're needing a ground ball. I think she'll feed our defense as well.
Coach, coming into the fall, in the offseason, a lot of players actually put in a lot of work trying to improve, get better. In the fall, notable people, Taylor, as you mentioned, I noticed Abby Steffen seemed to really have put in some work in the cage. Can you just speak to how that preparation, and, coming into the fall, and then that mindset continuing on into the season, how important that is for this team, and what your expectations are?
I do appreciate. I always get to see how hard they work in the fall and in the spring, but in the summer they all go on their own, and I will hear from them, but it's them on their own, figuring out what they want to do, what they liked that they did, what do they feel like they need to do better. And I thought everybody returned really strong, like extremely strong. We are throwing more weight around in the weight room than we've ever had, like just a very, very strong group. But with this group, what I've noticed more than anything is just the little details. And it's easy to go practice your feel-good stuff. Like, it always just feels good. But this group really gets caught up in what is it that they need to do to be better. And you could see all of them really make a push this summer. And when they came back in the fall, there was a significant difference. So Abby, the way she's swinging at the plate, the power that you're going to see. I'm excited for you all to see some athletes last year that maybe you didn't get to see as much. They're in a really good spot right now, and I think you're going to enjoy watching them play.
obviously it hurts to lose Paige's glove in the field, but not just the glove, but what she was as a leader for the defense. How have you seen, people like K-Dub and Katie Flannery step into those roles, leading the defense, especially on that infield?
Yes, it's, like you watch Paige Sinicki and just what an unbelievable athlete that she was. And she graduates and you hate to see her go, but it's exciting to watch her pass the torch to our athletes that are returning. And Katie has just become a great leader for us. Watching K-Dub and how she finished at the World Series last year, you could see her really start to understand what she wanted to do and compete in all areas. Just having that experience as a freshman has gone a long way. I hear her. She's really vocal this year. Addie coming in as a transfer. She's been great. It's been awesome to watch her grow just in the short time that she's been with us. And I'm looking forward to seeing this infield group really connect, and get after it. So they've all, I feel like, have upped their leadership roles.
Aiden Hess, Cato VA coach. This year, obviously the season hasn't started yet, but what's kind of stuck out to you culture-wise with this team that you think is going to define version 8 down the stretch of the season?
Their commitment that they have to each other and this team. That's the biggest thing. Like, these guys talk a lot about how they want to pour into each other and just have really deep relationships, and to be able to celebrate when they're doing something, but then also just to be able to call each other to the standard when it's needed, and can trust and have that trust with each other, I think is really important. This group is a fun group. They love to laugh. They always have a lot of little inside jokes going on, and just, I don't know, they're just a funny group. But then when it's time to lock in and really compete, they know how to do that. So just watching that combination, I think, is pretty exciting. And I think with this group too, just knowing that the biggest thing that we do when we talk about is really just staying within our process. Don't get caught up in results. We don't need to get caught up in results. Just what does our process look like daily? And that daily will continue into what's next as we're getting into our season.
Again, your team, you played a lot of good teams down the stretch, obviously in the postseason and then into the World Series. But this tournament against Florida, you got Tennessee coming up, a lot of other good teams. How excited are you, and how excited is your team to go against some quality opponents to kick off the season?
We're really looking forward to it. I've always said in the past, like, to be the best, you got to play the best. And with this group and the experience that they have coming into the year, I felt like it allowed us to create a schedule that just coming out of the gate, we are going to face Missouri, and then we're going to face Clemson and Liberty, who we faced in our Super, and Tennessee, and then Southeast Louisiana, who knocked off LSU. So it's a tough slate, and with that, I think it requires an experienced team. I think it requires a deep team. For us to expect only a few to take on strain, it doesn't make sense. We need a lot of our athletes to be able to take on strain each game. So I'm excited to see each game and what it looks like, and just how we go about it. But I'm really looking forward to the schedule that we're taking on this year.
Kind of building off of that, like, you guys basically doing the same thing as you did last year, right? Starting off the first 3 weeks, 3 different places, all against really good opponents. Just how important is it to get off to a fast start, like you kept saying last year, for these first 3 weeks, and kind of like push you guys towards like that middle part of the season?
Yeah. I think the first 3 weeks, and it's coming out of the gates and starting fast. How do we have the ability to start fast, stay fast, finish fast? That's something that definitely won't change for us. I'm looking forward to see what it looks like, because it's going to look different this year, but it's exciting to see what it's going to look like. Think about the 3 weeks on the road, and then from there it prepares us for our opener, and then it prepares us for the Big Ten. And then I think of the schedule that we have going into the Big Ten, and then how it's going to get us ready for the Big Ten championship and postseason. So I just think everything that we do has always been very calculated. I think about how we've trained in January. We have trained to win every single day, and that is to prepare us for what is coming up this next week. So,
Coach, I know a lot of factors go into assembling a team, putting things together, but last year it was kind of the NIL arms race. A lot of teams were just kind of grabbing, top things, and it didn't really feel, it almost felt like mercenary-esque. The team that you've assembled now, and kind of how that plays into the culture, how proud of you of the culture that you have established here, or that the team has established, and how the individual pieces kind of assembled and coalesced together to meet that?
I think your culture is your everything. And if you don't have a culture, or if you don't have a way of life, I mean, culture is just your way of life. How do we live life daily as a team? And if we're not doing that the right way, things are going well, you can kind of get away with it, but then you're going to hit some adversity. And when you do, then you see that we're not doing things correctly. I think this group, from day one, the first thing we did is we went on a retreat. We had nothing to do with softball. It's, to me, when I think about like what we've built here and the successes that we're having, are these guys athletic? Absolutely. But most importantly, it's we have the right people in this program, and they know how to connect. They know how to bring out the best in each other on the field, off the field. And I can't just emphasize like how important that piece is. And so we work really hard on that piece. We really do. These guys have a lot of pride in what we do on a daily, but just also just a ton of pride in being a part of Oregon softball.
Coach, coming up on your 8th opening day, I'm curious, how has the sport changed the most since you kind of took over the job? And I guess, what's kind of the biggest hurdle facing college softball staffs, players, teams right now?
I just think every year the athletes are bigger, stronger, just more experienced, more equipped. Just the sport, the game itself just is getting better and better. The technology that we have, you look at all the information that opponents have on each other. We're going to go into the weekend, and for us and for our opponent are going to know every single thing, about each team. So just the information that is out there. What I think has been amazing is just watching AUSL flourish, our pro league, and what that's doing for our sport. The fact that last year we're here at Jane Sanders Stadium, and it's Jane Sanity because it was just out of control, because people want to come watch softball. They love watching softball, and they love watching the sport and how fast it is. So to me, that's what's been really exciting, is just watching the sport, which I've always known is a great sport, just continue to grow, and people get caught up in it and just want more and more. So, when I first, goodness, I don't even know what year it is, but I'm in my maybe almost 30th year or just under 30th year. Do you even know? I know. I guess you just kind of stopped counting. But I remember back a while ago, at the World Series, you had the semifinal and the championship. Like, that was broadcasted on ESPN. I mean, now you would think, seriously? And now you look, and all of these games that we're playing, we're going to be on the MLB network come Saturday, and just there's so many games that are broadcasted right from the beginning of the year on. You're seeing fall games that are being broadcasted. And so just watching our sport explode, and others love it as much as we all love it, has been really exciting for me.
You mentioned the information age kind of the sport. I'm curious, are there any data points that you specifically kind of look at or lean on, maybe are the first ones you bring up?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I think for us, it's just different. For me, I like to see what swings look like since I call the pitches. I like to see what swings look like, and, where hitters spray the ball, stuff like that. What I think is pretty cool, Coach Liss, Coach Romero, they're very into spreads. You could see we'll be set up, and I'm sure some of you are like, what if they hit the ball there? Nobody is there, but statistically, the chances of hitting the ball there, right now are 0. So I think just for each coach, we're able to there's so many statistics, we're able to take things that we need that really help us teach our athletes and prepare our athletes for the games.
Dylan DeCesare, KWA Sports. You guys are a top 5 team going into season 2 in the rankings. How do you deal with the expectations of that with a specific group?
Yeah, that's what we work for, and that's what we strive for every day. We want to be the best. At the end of the year, there's going to be one team that's still standing, and that's it. That's who we want to be. And what I think is important for this group is to understand where we ranked early, where we ranked as the season goes on. What does our RPI look like? Those are things that we sit down and we talk about. It's very matter of fact. We don't have to do anything. We just need to be strong with our process and get out on the field and compete. But I think in order for us to understand where we want to know, where we would like to go, we need to understand RPI, ranking, strength of schedule. As coaches, we understand that, and that's something that we provide to our athletes.
We'll go one or two more from Coach and then on to the players. Go ahead, Aiden.
It's year number 60 of this program and then year number 10 at the Jane. Does that give you and your team a little more incentive to make this season a special one?
Yes. I love that we're celebrating 60 years of Oregon softball, and I can't wait for our alumni to get back to the Jane and get back to Eugene. We're sitting in this beautiful stadium because of the work that the women before us have done. We get all these beautiful resources and unbelievable opportunities because of our alumni and their hard work and the things that they've done ahead of us. So anytime our alumni comes, I always put them in front of our athletes. They get miserable at me and I don't care because I just want them to speak to our athletes and talk about what their journey looked like and give them some advice. So we are definitely celebrating 60 years and we're celebrating it all season long. And then just to look that it's been 10 years, you would look at Jane Sanders Stadium and the stadium is beautiful. You would not, to imagine that it's already been 10 years. It's crazy to me, and just how beautiful she is to watch this past season and the crowds that were here, and just to see the Jane absolutely packed was the reason I came here in the first place. I remember I came here as an opponent and hated and loved every bit of it, and so to be watching us in postseason hosting regionals and super regionals at the Jane and just seeing it absolutely packed, it was just unbelievable.